This week on WestfordCAT News, it's COVID and more COVID for Health Director Jeff Stevens.
We've had approximately 1,100 cases in town over the past 13 months.
Chris Barrett and members of the Pedestrian Safety Committee get the go-ahead on a sidewalk design project. And Marcia Macres tells us why art empowers women. I'm Joyce Polino-Crane. Stay with us. WestfordCAT News is next. Before we get started, Westford, I wanted to remind everyone that Daylight Savings Time begins this Sunday, March 14th. So don't forget to set your clocks ahead by 1 hour when you go to bed on Saturday night. Congratulations, you've made it through the dark days of COVID, and the light can only get brighter as we wait for spring. And now, the news. Armed with the unanimous approval of all 5 Select Board members, Chris Barrett, chair of the Pedestrian Safety Committee, left the meeting on March 9th, authorized to spend $80,000 from the sidewalk gift account for engineering services of a safety improvement project. The services are related to the Plain Road sidewalk design between Nutting Road and the entrance to Grassy Pond, it's a conservation area. Barrett stated, having shovel-ready projects allows us to take advantage of ad hoc funding opportunities. For example, last year the town was able to leverage funds from the Mass DOT Shared Streets and Spaces Funding Program to complete a pedestrian improvement at the Abbott School. That program had a very short application time period. Barrett continued.
This is really just a continuation of a conversation we started several weeks back with the presentation of the core Westford walkway. At the end of that presentation, both the Healthy Westford Committee as well as Pedestrian Safety asked for your support for this particular section of Plain Road that we want to design a sidewalk for. At that time, we were still looking at budgets, capital planning. Did review this ask, had passed it on. We then went forward to the planning board and asked for their support for the use of the funds from the sidewalk gift account. They did pass, not unanimously, but they did offer their support for that. And so now we're in front of you today and asking for your support for the use of those funds for this project.
Okay, so we have a motion to support expending $80,000 from the sidewalk gift account. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Mark?
Yes.
Anita?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Watch the entire Select Board meeting on demand at westfordcat.org. Health Director Jeff Stevens appeared before a joint meeting of the Finance Committee and Select Board on March 4th and ended up speaking not about the pandemic, but about the opioid crisis that lost the spotlight when COVID-19 surfaced. It was Finance Committee member Dennis Galvin who engaged Stevens in the discussion.
So your report was very thorough as always, but I still have one question. I repeat it each year. And that is, what are we doing to try to track the opioid situation? I mean, we're now 4 years into something like a 2,000 person death rate for the state of Massachusetts. And every once in a while, I unfortunately pick up a newspaper and see somebody I know in an obituary. I later find out there was an overdose. So I'm just wondering how our situation is and what, if anything, we're doing to at least track the raw numbers to find out whether this problem is increasing or decreasing in the town.
Sure. So what I do the best I can with our staff at this point is we will stay in touch with emergency medical services and police, see where the overdoses are. I still stay involved with some of the other communities that are involved with, such as Lowell and the substance abuse groups there, to try to get some ideas. They'll actually give me some information that we can use to get to residents when need be. Most recently, what we're doing is there's now a new grant that's come out that is going to be a cooperative grant for 3 years, and it's going to be fairly competitive. But I'm reaching out to a couple of other communities that do not have any substance abuse prevention coordinator type positions, and we're going to look at filling out this grant to cover more than one town with a regionalized approach. I don't know what our chances of getting this grant yet are, but the RFR came out this week, and a couple of health directors and I are meeting tomorrow to talk about what our options might be to start looking at other ways to fund this position, which I think we all know we need in some capacity in town. But currently, I haven't had it for about a
Basically,
year.
we still don't have a drug coordinator. Is that correct? I mean, we don't have that position filled?
No, we do not.
But eventually, COVID questions surfaced, and Stevens was ready with the answers.
How is Westford as a community for COVID infection rate?
At 5 o'clock today, we went back to green.
Cool, congratulations.
To elaborate on those numbers a little bit, we've had approximately 1,100 cases in town over the past 13 months. And we've had 27 people pass for different reasons, whether it be COVID directly itself or underlying conditions. Most of those people were seniors or on hospice already. Currently, there are approximately 20 people that have active cases of COVID in town right now, and very few are very sick at this point. So we are hopefully turning a corner and staying there.
To watch the entire joint meeting of the Finance Committee and Select Board, visit WestfordCAT.org. For Health Director Jeff Stevens, there's little reprieve from the COVID-19 pandemic. Stevens spent a significant portion of the Board of Health's March 8th meeting addressing the virus. He provided information on the total number of cases since the pandemic took hold a year ago, as well as the total number of deaths in town due to the virus.
All of us know we still have not received any vaccine at the local level to vaccinate people. We have once again, as even today, put in for 1,200 vaccines to hopefully vaccinate all our teachers and support staff of not only Westford Public Schools, but Neshoba Tech as well. We don't know if we will get those. We are going to make an assumption that we won't, because they have been turned down nearly every single other time, but we got to put in the request, so we did it anyway. Neshoba Tech continues to be ready and willing and able to be a great partner to Westford Public Schools as soon as we could get it. We even broached the idea of trying to do 9 school districts, because Neshoba Tech has 9 school districts within it, and there was some buy-in from all of the other school districts to do so. But that request that I made has not even been responded to yet at the state level. But we thought maybe there was a shot we could do that. As far as other people getting vaccinated, the CVS in Westford now is doing vaccinations. You need to log on. That particular site, like many of them, is already closed because whatever they have is already spoken for. The MassVac sites, including the one at 1001 Pawtucket Boulevard, are steadily pushing people through. People that need to get vaccine, I would recommend that just be patient, log on, wait for an appointment, and sooner or later you will get in, because they are vaccinating a fair amount of people throughout the Commonwealth right now. We know that. That's the best we can do locally at this point.
To watch the entire Board of Health meeting on demand, visit WestfordCAT.org. With Marcia Macres' help, we've relaunched our Women Empowered by Art program designed to feature women who create any type of art, from music to painting. We introduced this project just before the pandemic hit a year ago, forcing us to put it on hold. But now we reintroduce it during Women's History Month. Here is Macres telling us how art empowers.
I think that, especially in this day and time with the way the politics and, was turning out, and we see such a divide in people, not only women, but men too. And that, people are tearing themselves down so much that, especially now, it's really important to lift each other up. Encourage people to be the best that they can be and to be their authentic self. And I think that if women are going to continue to improve their goal for equality, that we really do need to lift each other up and support each other. And I just a little bit goes a long way in empowering each other. So.
To read an extensive interview with Macres, produced by WestfordCAT intern Jacina Kalabakis, visit westfordcatnews.org. And now, here's Westford Academy student Austin DeSisto with a sports update.
For the first time, ever, the DCL League has added a season in between the winter and spring sports seasons. It has been titled Fall 2, and it includes some sports that would normally be played in the fall. Volleyball, cheerleading, football, and winter track all passed the vote to play in the Fall 2 season with specific modifications. Football has a few modifications besides the obvious. Teams will have to limit the number of players in close proximity with each other on the sidelines of games and at practices. For games, no more than 45 people and 6 coaches can be on the sidelines. Players must face the same direction in huddles and must be spaced apart by at least 6 feet. As for practices, everything must be conducted outdoors and no more than 25 players can be on one half of the field at the same time. Full contact drills can only be conducted for up to 30 minutes a week. Footballs, pads, helmets, and all other equipment must be sanitized. Masks must be worn at all times, and each helmet now has a plastic splash guard as an added layer of protection. Westford Academy varsity football has 3 away games and 2 home games on every Friday. However, their first game starts on Saturday, March 13th. J games will be conducted on most Saturdays. Winter track has received heavy modification and has been downgraded to a club rather than a sport. Athletes will only pay $100 instead of the regular $250. This is due to the lack of competitions and practice time. Practicing from Monday to Thursday for only 1 hour each. All activities must also be conducted outdoors by the Coffin Building. Most races and events will happen on the practice days between the team themselves, and there is a chance for competitions to be held virtually. Volleyball is one of the only sports recently that has been allowed to hold their games indoors. As many of you know, basketball and hockey were both canceled for the winter seasons. All games will have no fans, but they will be video recorded so parents and fans can watch during the game if they are live streamed, or after if live streaming capabilities are not available. Cheerleading will continue as normal, just with the minimal practice time compared to a regular year. At the 2 scheduled varsity football home games, the cheer team will bear the cold in full support. That's it for me today. Stay tuned for more coverage on the Fall 2 sports this year, including live streams and full game films on the WestfordCAT YouTube channel. Weekly sports updates will also continue. Check the WestfordCAT Instagram and the WA Live Sports Instagram for updates.
Thanks, Austin. That's it for now, Westford. Remember to set your clocks ahead and enjoy this weekend. I'm Joyce Polino Crane, and you're watching WestfordCAT News.